What does the awe counter role look like in an actual Toastmasters meeting? You've come to the right place. In this live video example, I'm going to take you into one of my Toastmasters meetings and allow you to observe me doing the awe counter role. This isn't edited, this isn't filtered, this is me doing the full role from start to finish. I'm going to show you that, then I'm going to comment what things did I do well, what things could I have improved on, and it will give you an example of how you should do the awe counter role. Hey everyone, my name is Wade Patterson. I'm passionate about Toastmasters, about public speaking, about impactful communication. These are all things I cover on my YouTube channel. If that sounds like it could add some value to you, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me grow and allows me to create more video content just like this. Turn on notifications as well so that you never miss a video. So those of you who are fans of the channel know that I have started doing these live example videos, which I hope to do with more and more roles of the Toastmasters program. This is the second one I'm doing, and it is on the awe counter role, which is such an important role within the Toastmasters program. I have another video on my channel that really dives into the specifics and things to think about before taking on the awe counter role. If you haven't seen that video before, check out the link in the video description because that is going to give you a more in-depth idea of what to be thinking about before doing the role. But watch both of these videos because you'll get the in-depth description in the other video, and then you actually get to see me do it in this video, and the combined power of those two is going to help you knock the awe counter role out of the park. Why does the awe counter role matter? It matters a lot because new speakers often use crutch or filler words in between sentences. Things like so, and, but. There's all of these words that we add in instead of silence. And for us as speakers, it's uncomfortable to allow that silence in between sentences. But for the audience, it's more enjoyable to listen to. The awe counter catches those things in a Toastmasters meeting. Let's take a look at my live awe counter role at my local Toastmaster Club meeting. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, both in person and on Zoom, and our welcome guest. The role of the awe counter is to catch filler or crutch words, such as so, the words that we put in between sentences instead of silence, so that when we're sharing sentimental Christmas memories, we can be listened to and appreciate the stories that we are telling. Today, the common word amongst the group was or the common filler word, that was used many times. Dan, in his role as president, came up, delivered, also had the table topics answer, 7 uhs was the word. Andy, as Toastmaster, a lot of speaking opportunity, and so were the two, was used 4 times, so once. Kim, as timer, explaining the role the first time was 2 uhs, and then on the report in the second half of the meeting, none at all. Diane with the toast, flawless. Incredible pauses throughout the toast, well done. Sue as humorous, 2 so's and 2 uhs. Margaret as grammarian, several uhs and ums, and was the other, and leading into another sentence. Kenny on the Blue Book review and 2 speech evaluations, 1 That's it. Such an incredible job. Fahad, during his speaking role, didn't catch anything. Wendy as speaker, 3 ums, 2 so's, and a just. Just is a word that's not needed because it takes away from what we're trying to say. Luke as a table topic answer, 3 ums. Frank, table topic answer, 2 uhs. Tegan, 3 uhs. Moya, flawless. And Kim, as I mentioned, your second timer report was flawless. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, there you have it. Now's the fun part where I get to evaluate myself and explain where I could have done things a little better to improve on the role you just watched. Overall, I was pretty happy with that all-counter role performance. I managed to explain the purpose of the role at the beginning, and I even squeaked in the word of the day, which was sentimental. You may have noticed by my cheeky little wink at the grammarian in our meeting. I wanted to incorporate that word as well. The word of the day is something that is included in most Toastmasters clubs, and it's always a good challenge to try to incorporate that word into any role that you do at Toastmasters. I personally like to challenge myself to not use notes very often at Toastmasters, but there are some roles that you pretty much need to use notes, and all-counter is one of them. It is almost impossible to remember exactly how many uhs or ums each Toastmasters member gave throughout the meeting. You probably need to reference some form of notes, just like the timer role. You're not going to memorize everyone's timings. You probably need some form of notes. One suggestion, and you may have noticed this with my grammarian role video as well, I like to bring up a hard book or something behind that single piece of paper. The reason for this is that sometimes when we get nerves when we're public speaking, our hands shake and we aren't able to control this. It's a natural reaction. And if you have a singular piece of paper in your hands, it may rattle the piece of paper and the audience may be able to tell that your hand is shaking. But if you have something heavier, like a book that's holding it, if your hand is shaking a bit, nobody can notice because the book is too heavy to be rattling. And that is something I have done throughout my speaking career. When I do have notes, holding them behind a binder or a heavier book or something like that. A little pro tip for all of you who are going to incorporate notes with your next speaking role. One thing I was proud of in this role was maintaining third person until the very end of the role. I think I referenced a Toastmasters member named Kim and I said you. Third person is talking about somebody by using their name. Wade did this well. John could have improved here. When you switch that into you, talking to somebody specifically, Kim, you did this very well. We call that second person. Ideally, you want evaluations to stay in third person, but whether they're third person or second person, what you want to definitely focus on is not bouncing back and forth. So you don't want to say, John did this very well. Kim, you could have improved there. Wade, you could have improved here. Going back and forth, that's not consistent. And especially if you're in a club contest, maintain your evaluation in third person. This is something that is incredibly challenging and that I struggle with often, but that is the goal, is to remain in third person. If you were watching closely, you may have noticed on the Zoom screen behind me that the timer's lights were showing, and when you see the green light go on, I suddenly speed up my evaluation. That is another area I could have improved, is quicker pacing from the beginning. With the all-counter report, you have a lot of information to get out there in 1 to 2 minutes. And what often happens in this role is you see Toastmasters members realizing they're almost out of time and then rushing through the end of the evaluations or mentioning people whether they said or ah. What you want to do is have that pace steady from the beginning so that you're not rushing at the end to finish up the role. You want to give everyone in the meeting their feedback on an equal level, whether they were the first speaker or the last speaker. Many times people get caught up in getting into too much detail early on, and then they run out of time at the end of the role. So what was the feedback from the General Evaluator? Well, overall, he didn't have any gifts to give me or pieces of constructive criticism, so I guess I'll take that as a positive. He did mention that I showcased good listening skills, which was nice to hear, and he appreciated that I gave a bit more context to some of the words. For example, when I explained to Margaret she's using the word and, I explained how it was a run-on word, saying and then going to the next sentence. That type of specific feedback will hopefully help Margaret in her future speeches, and that was something that was recognized by the General Evaluator. The yaw counter role is a great one to take on if you are new to Toastmasters. It forces you to be a careful listener throughout the entire meeting, making notes of people's crutch words, and by doing so, by listening carefully for other people, naturally it helps you beware of what those filler words are as well, and that will help you in your own speech going forward. The requirements are taking notes and then delivering a report at the end of the meeting, which is 1 to 2 minutes. It's a relatively simple role that way. If you're thinking about taking it on, I want this video to be that piece of encouragement to sign up for that role. You can do it, and hopefully the live video example that I did showcases how you can take it on. Thank you so much for watching this video. If my channel is providing you with value of any sort, please subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, like this video. All of those things really help me and allow me to continue creating this type of video content. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are looking for a little bit of coaching help with your next speech, I am providing one-on-one evaluations. My contact email is in the video description. Reach out to me and let's discuss what that could look like.